What's going on, boxing fans? Julian Williams here at the distance. Let me adjust this a little bit. I don't like it all the way up there. So, anyway, pros fight video for Andre Ward versus Allan Green. Fight just happened. Super middleweight bout, Super 6, WBA Super Middleweight Championship. Overall, the score on all three judges' scorecards were pretty much the same as mine. 120 to 108, all to Andre Ward. Very one-sided fight, and pretty much what the fight was. Everything was all the same in the fight. Allan Green had no answer for Andre Ward's boxing ability. You could say that he underestimated him, but if you look closely at the fight and look at all of Allan Green's past fights, I mentioned that he kind of goes in a straight line. Everything's in a straight line and everything's very one-dimensional. And Andre Ward's, everything's a little bit lateral. But that wasn't the case in this fight. Andre Ward did a lot in this fight to make Allan Green uncomfortable. Andre Ward fought a little on the outside, but what surprised me was Andre Ward's ability to fight on the inside. How he fought Allan Green on the inside, and Andre Ward knowing what to do to win this fight. Andre Ward did a very good job of sticking to the game plan and staying disciplined in this fight to defeat Allan Green. Allan Green was very discouraged after maybe rounds 3 or 4. He was very discouraged. He wasn't throwing as many punches as he did in round 1 or in any of his past fights. Allan Green did not throw too many punches in this fight. And with a lot of punchers against boxers, when punchers don't land their shots against the boxer, then punchers don't throw as much because they become discouraged and they kind of tend to stand and catch shots more than they throw or try to land. And when you look at the stats of the fight, and sometimes the stats are a little bit misleading, but in this fight the stats said it all. The amount of combinations thrown and the amount of combinations landed, the amount of jabs landed, the amount of power punches landed. And if you look on both sides, the amount that Andre Ward had landed and the amount that Allan Green had landed. Andre Ward's was so, it was just so, pretty much if you look at it, it was just so one-sided because Ward landed a significant amount, much more than the amount that Allan Green had landed. So that pretty much told it all. That quite told it all about the fight. So anyway, when you look at the fight, pretty much everything was a little bit of the same, but Andre Ward pretty much used his boxing ability, athleticism, to win this fight. Those are the two things that I thought Andre Ward needed to use to win the fight: athleticism and boxing ability. And that's something that I thought Allan Green did not have. I thought all Allan Green had was a puncher's chance of winning this fight, and that's really all he had, was a puncher's chance of winning. But a puncher's chance only gets you so much in fights. I'm a little surprised that we didn't see too much Andre Ward at southpaw, because Andre Ward at southpaw is a little more aggressive, throws a little more power shots, and also due to the fact that Allan Green had trouble against the southpaw. I was a little surprised that he came in orthodox, fought the fight predominantly at orthodox, and dominated at orthodox. So pretty much what we saw was another dimension to Andre Ward's game. And we saw also that Andre Ward pretty much is perhaps one of the best boxers, is perhaps the best and most athletic boxer in this tournament. So September 25th, we're going to see him against, I believe, the best pure boxer in the tournament, Andre Dirrell. And that's going to be a very interesting fight because, you have two fighters, good boxing ability, good athletic ability, both young. It's going to be a very interesting bout. As perhaps Allan Green, unfortunately, we're going to see him in another title bout against Mikkel Kessler. We don't know when the fight's going to be, but we all just know that he's going to be in another title bout after being dominated I repeat, dominated by Andre Ward. So now he's going to be fighting the veteran in the tournament, who I believe will dominate him again. So in this fight, we saw Allan Green. We saw pretty much in this fight that Allan Green did not deserve to be in this tournament, or doesn't really belong in this tournament. He's pretty much the misfit of the tournament. Because look at the other fighters that are in the Super 6, and look at him. Look how he performs. I believe, and I talked to Joe B about this on the phone a little bit earlier, both of us pretty much agree on this. Jermaine Taylor would have done much better and would have given Ward more problems than Allan Green did. Allan Green didn't throw, he was discouraged, so mentally he was out of the fight after a few rounds. He stopped throwing. He simply just continued moving in that straight line, or moved around. And when he moved around, when he kind of moved and he would cross his legs a little bit, cross the feet a little bit, he'd just move around. And when he moved around, it was benefiting Andre Ward, because Ward would land kind of from those angles. And also on the inside, Ward would land, the big shots on the inside. And we saw different jabs from Ward. We saw him use that short jab. We saw him use a little bit of the up jab in his typical jab. And pretty much what those jabs did was set up Ward to go on the inside. And we saw how the jab and the punches and the shots and the hooks to the body benefited Ward later on in the fight. When Green, and Green, who I believe typically is an 8-round fighter, just judging by his fights, he's typically an 8-round fighter because he's usually out of it by round 8. Just the shots to the body and the jabs that was pretty much set up Ward going to the inside and walking them down to the ropes. All that was effective, and what Ward did early in the fight benefited later on. That's really good, coming from a boxer, and it's very smart and very intelligent and good thinking. So in this fight, upcoming fight, Ward versus Durrell. Looking forward to it. Green versus Kessler. Okay fight, but we all know who's going to win that fight. Judging by this fight, Green looked like he did not belong in this tournament. Ward showed that he did belong in this tournament, and he's a force to be reckoned with in the super middleweight division. So this fight pretty much went two different routes, two complete opposite routes, and Green pretty much did not have an answer for anything that Ward had. Did not have an answer for anything. And it's bad enough that he did have trouble and looked like shit against Tarvis Sims, who was a southpaw. And now Andre Ward, who's a switch hitter who fought predominantly as an orthodox fighter. And he moved and uses athleticism and his youth to an advantage in this fight, and he won. My scorecard, I had it 120 to 108. I thought Ward pretty much took this bout. Allan Green, he did throw some combinations very early on in the fight, but later, as the fight progressed, we didn't see anything from Allan Green. So anyway, thanks for watching. That was The Distance. Peace.